talk about this. Well, Simcast is one of them, so we're going to hear what she says. And also, she might tell us about soup, omelette and curry, so come on.
Okay, I thought I'd have some fun with this podcast and do a little eat in a day section.
Why would you do that to me?
How many of you are vegans or vegetarians?
Me, I'm vegan. I'm vegan. Now listen, she knows I watch this stuff, doesn't she?
What is it that you're watching? Are you looking at the food? Does anyone believe he's actually looking at the food? Considering he claims he's a vegan. He claims he's vegan, which is apparently for some supposed to be a healthy diet. But he smokes like a chimney. So the two don't really go together. You know, I've told this guy, and I thought we had a little deal here. And I thought I could trust him just a little bit. I told this guy not to talk about me anymore, and I promised to do the same for him. And I thought we had a little deal. But he won't stop watching me, and he won't stop talking about me, and he watches every video I put out and reads all the comments. Looks rather enthusiastic, doesn't he? Hopefully one day, Scott, you will learn that I'm completely insignificant in the scheme of things, and you'll find other people, bigger channels to talk about. Talk about AD, you can do your little collaborations and pretend that I don't exist. I noticed that you also subscribe to my channel, so you're getting all my content. Interesting that. I thought you said that I was boring, that I was this, that I was that. But you look all perked up there. Why don't you stop talking about me, go and do your collaboration, go and talk about other creators. There's so many other really significant creators. I don't think I'm the one that you should be paying any attention to whatsoever. Anyway, thank you for being not so harsh on me this time. Thank you, sweetie. Bye. You know, last year I talked a lot about how we form relationships online in this day and age, and that a lot of our friendships and relationships, both platonic and more intimate relationships, are formed online nowadays. And is that a good thing? Is it a negative thing? You know, how does it change the way we interact with each other? And it's interesting because Chris Watts and Shanann, they met online. Their relationship started online. And I actually was not going to put this podcast out today. I was going to put it out on Sunday. So I might do this in 2 parts. But, you know, the question is it better? Was it better back in the old days when I wasn't even here, when I wasn't around? You know, when I wasn't even born yet, when people actually met face to face and they developed their relationships that way. You know, I've made some really, really poor choices in the people that I've decided to, or in the people that I collaborated with or became online friends with. But in actual fact, I've learned so much from my friendship with Bam. You know, my final conclusion on her is that she's just not a good person, and that's no one else's fault. She's not a good person, and she created a very codependent environment. But I'm not going to deny that I didn't enjoy our friendship. I enjoyed my friendship with Bam. I learned a lot from her. She made me see things from a different perspective. And, you know, I loved her at the time. I really did. And she's one of these people, she takes you under her wing and she makes you feel like she's got your back. And in turn, that makes people feel like they've got to protect her. And that's what codependent relationships are. When people lean on each other and get fuel from each other, and it actually doesn't create a great environment. And we can see these codependent relationships in the cases. You know, I believe the Watts family are a codependent relationship family, and I'm talking about CW's parents. I think that they had a codependent family relationship with each other, and I actually don't think codependency is a very good thing. And like some of the friendships that I've formed online, apart from Bam, you know, a lot of you would have seen me make some poor choices online with the people that I became friendly with. And, but, you know, I actually, all in all, when I review and I reflect, I don't regret the choices that I've made because I learned so much from those choices. You might find me rambling a bit in this podcast because I kind of lost track. I had planned to do this on Sunday, so my mind is all over the place, and I'm going to have my brunch soon. I was disappointed to hear that Martin and Helen hadn't made it through. Didn't work out between them, and just because I don't have a good relationship with Martin, and just because of my past experience with Helen, didn't make me feel any better. And I certainly wouldn't have used that as an opportunity to have a go at her or anything like that. In fact, I won't accept comments about Helen that are unkind or unpleasant. If people want to make constructive criticisms on my channel about her, that's fine. But I'm not going to accept any comment about Helen. I've had my past. I've had a difficult past with Helen, and I spoke about it, and I don't need to do it anymore. I did it enough. She was kind to me, and I accept her kindness, and I've got no problem with Helen. That doesn't mean to say that we're going to be riding off into the sunset as best friends or anything like that. But I appreciate her reaching out to me a few weeks ago. I really appreciate that, and I've got nothing whatsoever. I want nothing but the best for Helen. But and I'm going to kill criticism for this podcast because I'm talking about Bam once again. But sometimes I do go back and forth in my head. If a relationship or a friendship doesn't work out, I go back and forth in my head and I wonder why. Why didn't it work out? It's very obvious why it didn't work out with me and Bam. Bam doesn't like people. She likes the supply she gets from people. And that's the difference. And that's the difference in understanding or not understanding how people operate. Understand the difference between somebody actually liking you over liking the supply that you give them, because that's a very, very different thing. We all like supply. We all like compliments. We all like to be flattered at times. We're all human. We all have that little trait, that egotistical trait. All of us do. But people like Bam and people with NPD, they like it even more. It's the be all and end all for them. Supply is the be all and end all for Bam. And I can just imagine, after what happened, she's not going to be a happy person. She must be really, when she was miserable before, can you imagine what she's like now? Because she's lost a lot of donations. She's lost a lot of supply. She's not getting that anymore. This is a woman who sat online, who had nothing else to do, basically. She didn't have anywhere to go. She wasn't going to an office or anything like that in the days. She was sitting online, running her mouth and expecting that people were going to donate to her and fill her bank balance. And we all know the Sin situation. I think what really was upsetting for her is she didn't get the money. I don't think the loss of friendship with her and Sin was really her issue. She might say something different, but I think it's the fact that she didn't get the money that she thought she was going to get. That was what was upsetting to her. That was what was really upsetting to her. Not the loss of friendship, but the thousands of dollars that she thought she was going to get that she didn't get. That was what was upsetting to her. And, Bam is all about supply. How you can benefit her in some way, what she can gain from you. That's all she's about. And like I said, we form a lot of our relationships online these days. We run a lot of our businesses online. None of us would know each other if it wasn't for being online and having the internet. So, we are forming relationships more and more online. And it's going to continue to be that way. Some people literally have virtual relationships. And I believe Bam was probably in a virtual relationship with Sin, and thought she was going to get some. She thought she was going to get lucky, and it didn't happen. It didn't happen for her. So I'll end this rambling podcast with some vegetarian dishes that I cook every now, or that I make every now and then. I prepare. So the first one is a lentil curry. I love lentil curry. I never thought I would when I was growing up. I never thought I would like it. But I do love lentil curry, and it's actually very popular online, lentil curry. The other one is shakshuka, which is an egg breakfast dish, very, very popular in Israel and the Middle East. And it's basically poached eggs in a spicy tomato sauce with bread. I have it with croutons. And on the end, the far right, that is a chickpea salad, which is probably one of my favorite summer salads. It's just chickpeas with chopped cucumbers and tomatoes, some dill, some parsley, a little bit of lemon juice, olive oil, and a little bit of red wine vinegar mixed together, and just that's the dressing. Absolutely fantastic. So, I do eat vegetarian and vegan sometimes, and I just thought I'd end with that. Sorry for rambling, but I that's kind of what I like about my channel, that I can ramble and I'm just showing you my real. I'm just being my real self. I'm not polished. This is not a polished professional channel. This is a laid back channel, and I actually think that's what's so great about it. So anyway, see you soon. Bye.